I mean, I'm not going to make light of this, of course, but obviously there are cars that are more dangerous than others. One overall thing that IC Cars came up with was looking at this data, and this comes from a 2013 to 2017 analysis. It's a U.S. fatality analysis reporting system. This is more than 25 million used cars from the same model years to determine vehicles that are most often involved in fatal accidents. Okay, there are 14 models, and the most dangerous cars are compacts and subcompacts. Now, before I go into that, excuse me for ranting for just a second, but some of these cars are not dangerous in and of themselves. Some of these cars are dangerous or more deadly because they're small, and most everything else on the road is this big hulking tanks. And it's basic physics that when the big hulking tank hits the little tiny thing, usually the little tiny thing gets crushed more. If everything were the size of these cars, we would see, I mean, obviously we would see a much more honest appraisal, I think, small car versus small car, of how dangerous these vehicles are. So keep that in mind, that there's nothing inherently dangerous about subcompacts to a point, but there are basic physics involved. Okay. Anyway, number one, Mitsubishi Mirage, 10.2 fatal accidents per billion vehicle miles driven. I don't know if any of you have been in the Mitsubishi Mirage. I kind of liked the Outlander PHEV, but yeah, the Mitsubishi.
Isn't the Mirage like a tin can? It's like the cheapest car in America.
I actually think it's actually made out of layers of tinfoil over paper mache. And they all smell weird. I don't get it. Every Mirage that I've ever been in,
it's used tinfoil they use from.
It's not good. Now, here's a surprise. What's number two, kids? The Chevrolet Corvette.
That's because the douchebag driver's like punching it.
It's small. It's plastic.
It is.
It's low to the ground.
And they certainly don't designate between multi-vehicle accidents and single-vehicle accidents.
At what speed the car was traveling when it died. The owner died. I bet you the Corvette guys were all going like 100 miles an hour or something stupid.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Right. Tony's put the list up, so I'm going to read through it a little more quickly, and we'll present Tony so that you can read the list while I go through it. The Honda Fit at 7.7, the Kia Forte, the Chevrolet Spark, the Subaru BRZ, the Nissan 370Z, small two-seater sports car, driven by people who want to drive the living hell out of that car. And sadly, they do at 6.2 fatal accidents per billion vehicle miles. The Nissan Versa, the Kia Rio, the Dodge Challenger, not really a compact car. I guess that falls into the
same as the Corvette, though.
Yeah. Kia Soul, the Hyundai Veloster Turbo, and the Nissan
Camaro.
Versa. Oh, I'm sorry. And the Chevrolet Camaro.
Again,
another speed.
Group that in with the Corvette and the Challenger.
They were racing the Challenger owners.
People who aren't making good driving decisions in these cars. If fatal accident rates by passenger car size, of course, the subcompact comes in the highest. Compact, average for all cars, and then midsize and large. Wow, look at that. It goes from smallest to biggest. Again, I think that's basic physics.
This is not an endorsement to please run out and buy the biggest, hugest thing you possibly can find. No, not an endorsement for that.
Too late.
Yeah, and it might be too late. You're right.
No, I meant for me. It was my badass car.
Yeah, the American public has taken this to heart, and they're like, we want the biggest.
A flip side report, like the safest cars?
Well, that's very interesting that you say that.
You just read the chart from the bottom up, and that's
no,
I know what you mean, Paul, and I don't think there is.
Not this really was looking at fatalities. It doesn't. It did not have a.
This was the sunshine report here.
Yeah, this is the feel good report. So
right, but it'd be interesting if they rolled it out to like 100 cars instead of 10.
Right. You can read the bottom. I mean, there's. If you read through this whole story, there's a lot of things that you don't see.
No, it says don't buy a Chevy Spark if you live in Atlanta.
Atlanta or Chicago. Chicago. So if you're in Atlanta or Chicago and you see a Chevy Spark next to you, you should change lanes.
Pretty much, yeah. If you're in the Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, Central Valley, California thing, the Dodge Challenger is the car to avoid.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of this is obvious, and a lot of this is sad, and obviously none of these
hybrid in New York.
I know.
What's
Right?
that?
Makes sense.
New York, the Camry hybrid.
Right?
Taxis. Camry hybrid.
Ooh, maybe you're right. Taxis. Good call.
Interesting.
Good call.
Yeah, there's only 2 Toyotas on this list. The Tacoma is on the truck list towards the bottom, and that Camry hybrid.
Huh.
Why is the Jeep Wrangler so dangerous in Orlando and Daytona Beach?
Tourists renting open top Jeeps
And no
maybe.
seatbelts.
And drinking while
Yeah.
because they're on vacation.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. The car you don't want in LA, that Mitsubishi Mirage, because So that's all I got on that.
It is an extremely interesting article, and they have links to other lists on IC cars. They do a lot of interesting reporting like this. I recommend it. If you have time to kill, go on to www.iccars.com and just kind of navigate around. It's actually a really interesting website.
And it's ISEE cars, not IC like internal combustion.
Oh yeah, good call. Right, I didn't even think of IC for. Yeah, you're right.